Hello everyone. We'll be continuing with the chapter permutation and combinations today. And in this lecture, we will understand what does permutation mean, and we'll derive some general formulas to find out the basic permutations that we encountered in day-to-day life and some of the questions. So permutation is basically arrangement of some numbers in a row. What we did in the last lecture as in how many ways 6 people can be arranged in a row. This is basically find the permutations of 6 numbers, 6 persons. So permutation is basically permutation of n objects means arranging the n objects in a row. In how many ways can you do it? This is known as what is meant by the permutation of that number. So if I say find permutations of A, B, C. So what does I mean by this is in how all find all the ways in which A, B, C can be arranged in a row. So it could be ABC, ACB, BAC, BCA, CAB, CBA. So these are the 6 ways in which it can be done. Okay, so if I say find the permutations of a set this, so this means you have to enumerate all those possible ways in which the elements of this set can be arranged in a row. So if you have to find the permutations of ABC, you have to find all the possible ways in which you can arrange these 3 elements in a row. These are the 6 possibilities in which you can do it. So this is basically what is meant by permutation, but in general you are not expected to find out to list down all these permutations. You are just have to find out how many such permutations exist. That is the basic question which we encounter more often rather than listing, because listing we can't do more than say 50 elements. You won't want to list all those say thousands of numbers in how many ways it can be done. You are more curious in finding in how many ways you can do it. So basically we can solve this question, that is it is same as if I say permutation of a set which has A1, A2, A3, you have to find these are the n elements that exist in this set. You have to find the permutation of this set. So permutation means arranging them in a row. So we use the same approach as we did in the questions in the previous lecture. That is, you have say n positions. This is the first position, this is the second position, and similarly this is the nth position. So at the first position, how many possibilities do you have? You can choose any of these n numbers, any of the n objects that belong to this set. So for the first position you have n possibilities. For the second position you can't choose the number which has been already chosen for the first position. Okay, so you can choose any of the other numbers except the number which has been chosen at the first position. So for the second you have n minus 1 choices. Similarly for the third position you have chosen 2 numbers already for the first position and the second position. You can choose from this set except these 2 numbers. So there are n minus 2 possibilities. Similarly like this you will continue. At the last position you have just one remaining number because you have already chosen the n minus 1 positions in the row. You are just left with the one number, so you have one possibility left for the last position. As you can see, you have to do all these tasks because you have to choose the person at the first position, you have to choose the person at the second position, you have to choose the person at the third position. Similarly, you have to choose the person for the nth position. Then only you can say I have arranged all the n people in a row, because you have to fix, yes, this is the first person, this is the second person, this is the third person. You have to fix each and every person. Then only you can say I have formed an arrangement of these n numbers. So you have to choose all these tasks. So this means you can apply the multiplication principle. So multiplication principle will say how many such arrangements are possible, that is multiply the possibilities of each of these tasks, that is n into n minus 1 into n minus 2. This whole multiplied to 2 into 1. This whole multiplied till this reaches 1. What does this number? We learned in the first lecture, this is what is meant by a factorial of a number. Factorial of a number means you have to multiply all the first n natural numbers. So this is what is denoted by n factorial or written like this. So if I say there are n elements in a set, you have to find the total number of permutations. This is directly equal to n factorial. So if you had to find, say, how many ways you can arrange these three in a row, or you have to find a permutation, this is equal to 3 factorial, that is 3 into 2 into 1, that is equal to 6, what we got by enumerating these numbers. So this is basically what is meant by permutation. This is when, so we got the first law as total number of permutations of n objects when all of them are chosen. This is equal to n factorial. So what is this? If you have a set, say n, and you have to arrange all of them in a row, or you have to find the permutation of having all of them, then you can say the total number of permutations are n factorial. And there is one more condition in this: distinct. All objects are distinct. What does this mean? You can differentiate between A1 and A2, A2 and A3, because A, B, C, these are different. B is not equal to A, because let us suppose if they were same, 1, 1, 2. Letter A was 1, B was 1, and C was 2. So if we form these two permutations, say A, B, C, this would be 1, 1, 2, and form B, A, C, this would be 1, 1, 2 again. So this permutation and this permutation would be same. So we can't count these as 2. This would be one permutation only. So the condition for this is the total number of permutations of n distinct objects when all of them are to be chosen is equal to n factorial. This is just derived from the basic multiplication law that we learned in the previous lectures. So the next what we have done is let us suppose the case was such that you didn't have to choose all of those n numbers. That is, if I say you are given say 20 students, you are given 20 students in a class, and you have to form a row of only 10 students. Okay, so in that case, what do you do? So you have only 10 positions. I will short this question a bit. So this is first position, second position. So these are the RF positions. So you have to choose just R numbers from the given set, that is A1, A2, A3 till AN. So this was the given set from which you have to choose that are these R position numbers. So you have to just arrange only R of them in a row. Out of those n numbers, you can choose any of the R numbers and you have to form their permutations. So if I say you have to choose the first position, this is task A, this is task B. Similarly, this is the task. Say this was A1 task, this was A2 task, this was ARF task. Okay. So you have to do all these tasks. That is to choose the person at the first position. How many choices did you have? Or any of these would do, because you can choose any of the person who would stand at the first position. So there are n possibilities for the person who would stand in the first position. for the second position, you can't choose the person who has already stood at the first position. So you can choose any of the n minus 1 numbers. Similarly, for the third position, you could have chosen any of the n minus 2 numbers, that is except these two. Similarly, you would continue like this. So for the rth number, you would have n. For the rth number, you must have chosen r minus 1 numbers already. Okay? So you would have n minus r minus 1 possibilities with you, from which you could choose. And as the multiplication principle states, you to form this r people's row, to form this arrangement of r people in a row, you would have to choose the person at the first position as well as the second position, third position, fourth position. So we can apply the multiplication rule. So the total number of ways would be n into n minus 1 into n minus 2. This would continue till n minus r minus 1. Okay. So this is a quite cumbersome type expression. You won't be trying to multiply these numbers like this. So if I multiply it will say more numbers. So this would be something like, if you take a minus 1, so this is n plus 1 minus r. This is something like this. As you can notice, 1 is being decreased from this. So if I multiply this number into, this was the expression over here, n into n minus 1 into n plus 1 minus r. If I multiply it with n minus r into n, if I multiply this with n minus r minus 1, n minus r minus 2, this continued till 2 into 1. That is, you multiply it with the decreasing sequence of natural numbers beginning from n minus 1 and divide it by the same expression, that is n minus r into n minus r minus 1, n minus r minus 2, this continued to 2 into 1. So what does the upper expression mean? The upper expression is multiplication of 1 into 2 into 3 till n. What does this expression is? N factorial. That is the multiplication of first n natural numbers. And in the denominator it is 1 into 2 into multiplied till n minus r. So this is n minus r factorial. So this is the basic formula for in how many ways can you arrange n numbers taking r at a time, where all these n numbers are distinct. So I would just quote this in one line. So what I explained right now is number of permutations of n distinct objects taken r at a time is given by n factorial by n minus r factorial. This is generally denoted by NPR. That is, n is the total number, p means permutation, and r means how many are taken at a time. This is the general notation for writing this. This means you have to find the number of permutations of n distinct numbers having taking r at a time. This is the general notation for it, and the value is n factorial upon n minus r factorial. Okay. So the next case we will be doing is, let us suppose we didn't have the distinct numbers, as we did in the previous case. Like in the previous lecture we did how many 5-digit number when the repetition is allowed. Repetition is allowed means you have for each and every position you have n possibilities. That is for any. So the third case would become is number of permutations of n distinct numbers, n distinct objects. Sorry, they are not distinct. And distinct objects taken are at a time and repetition being allowed. Okay, repetition being allowed. So in this case, how do you do it? You have these R positions which you have to fill. One, first, second, third, and this continues to this Rth position. And you have the set of A1, A2, till An. So for first position you have obviously n choices because you can choose any of these two n numbers. For the second position also you have n choices because it doesn't matter which number you had taken at the first position. As repetition is allowed, you can choose this number which you had chosen at the first position, you can choose it at the second position as well. So you have n possibilities. Still it doesn't matter, you could choose the same number which has been chosen in the first two positions again over here or any of the remaining. So n possibilities. So you have n possibilities for all these positions. So the arrangement would be possible only when you choose the first position as well, second position as well, third position as well, and the other position as well. So the multiplication principle says the total number of permutations would be the multiplication of the number of ways in which you can do these individual tasks, that is n into this. This is done r times. So this would give us n power r. So the total number of permutations of n distinct number taken r at a time when repetition is allowed is given by n power r. Okay. So what we learned till now is the basic formula for finding permutation of n numbers taking all at a time. That is, you have to take all these n numbers and arrange in a row. The finding the total number of permutations of n distinct objects taken r at a time, that is written as npr, that is n factorial upon n minus r factorial. And the third case was the number of permutations of n distinct objects when repetition is allowed. In that case, the answer is n power r. And the last case which arises in this case is when you have, let us suppose this all objects are not distinct. This is another type of questions that you encounter. Like I suppose I say there are 5. Let us suppose there are 3 balls. Let us suppose there are 3 balls. 2 are white. Let us there are 3 balls. 2 are red and 1 is blue. These are the 3 balls. 2 are red and 1 is blue. You have to arrange these. So that means you have to find the permutation of these. You have to arrange these in a row. So what are the possibilities? So this is either you can have these 2 over here, or you can have 1 red over here, 1 red over here, and 1 blue in between. And the other case could be you could have 1 blue over here. You can see it by, just to enumerate this, you can see it by like this. You have to choose the position for this blue one. This could have been on the right extreme, or in the middle, or in the left. Other 2 positions would be obviously occupied by the red. So as you can see, these are the only 3 possibilities. What I am trying to say is, if these three were distinct, as we did in the case of choosing A, B, C, the finding the permutations of A, B, C, there were 6 permutations. But when the two were same, it reduced down to 2. What happened in this case was, let us suppose this, either of these two, let us suppose there was a black and a red and a blue ball. Let us say there were 3 balls. Okay. So now what are the cases that you could have arranged? What are the ways in which you could have arranged these? These are the 6 ways in which you could have arranged this. If all of these were different, of these different colors. Now I say, let's make the red black. Let's make the red black. So I made this red black. Okay, I made all these red black. What happened now? These two became same because they had blue in the first position. Now this red has become black, 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 black. These two became same. And now this had a black in the first position. This had a black in the second position. This had a black, first position and the third position. Here also there was a black in the first position, third position. These two became same. Similarly, these two became same. They had black in the first position, and we had these 3 possibilities again. So basically, what happened was, whenever you were able to distinguish between these two, when you chose to color 2 of them the same, these two clubbed together. So whatever the possibilities were there in the case when these 2 elements were different, you just broke them down and shrink them down to 1. So if I say these 3 things are different, this is A1, A2, A3. How many ways can you arrange them in a row? That is 3 factorial. If I say these all are same, these all look the same, what does that mean? This is also blue, this is also blue, this is also blue. So how many ways can you arrange it? It's only one, because all of them are blue. You can't distinguish which one is ahead of them, which one is behind of them. So you say there is only one case. So what is happening? You are dividing the total number of possibilities earlier by what are the basic permutations. It is shrinking down. That is how many elements you could have made that are now becoming same. That is 3 elements are becoming same. So how many permutations could have you formed using them? That are 3 factorial. Are you getting my point? That is, if I say earlier you had, so the 4th type is, let us have n objects in which k are of one type and m are of another type, and all other are distinct. What do I mean by this? This is something like this. If I say there are 10 balls, 2 are white, 3 are black, and all other, we have a marker on them. Let us suppose, so these are white, I say white, black, black, black. On all other you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 written on them. So you can distinguish between all of these 5, but you can't distinguish which of these you have chosen. If I say I chose the white one, you can't say this was the white one or this was the white one. If I say you chose number 2, you could have known, yes, this is only the one which has 2 marker objects. So you have total 10 such objects, that is the value of n over here. You have k of one type, that is 2 of white type, m of another type, that is 3 of the black type, and all other are distinct. So the total number of permutation in this case are, you first assume that all of these were distinct. That is, you could distinguish between each and every ball. So in that case, it would be the basic permutation, that is n factorial. The total number of ways in which you can arrange these 10 balls. Now there is further condition that 2 are white and 3 are black. That means you can't distinguish between these two. So the whatever the permutations that were formed using these 2 white balls, that is whatever the permutations were formed that were formed by exchanging the position of one and first white and the second white, now doesn't exist because these 2 whites are same. So it's divided by the total number of permutations that were formed if you assume that the k were different. Similarly, we will divide it by another. So again we will divide by 3 black because these 10 factorial permutations had, the answer would be this. Because these 10 factorial permutations had permutations corresponding to understanding these 3 are different. There were 6 possibilities according to them. For every possibilities of other 7, there were 6 corresponding to these 3 numbers, 3 black balls. So it divided by m factorial as well. So this is the general formula to find the total number of permutations of n objects in which k are of one type, m are of another type, and their all other are distinct. So the total number of ways to arrange them are n factorial by k factorial by m factorial. So as we did in this case, there were 3 balls. So the answer given would be 3 factorial upon, there are 2 of the type red and 1 is of the type blue. So we divided by 2 factorial. That is all. This is 3 into 2 into 1. This is 2 into 1. So this is 3. And this is what we get by just by enumerating. So these are the 4 basic permutation formulas that we covered in this class. The combination formulas and what is meant by combination, etc. we will consider in the next class. Thank you.